Hello, and welcome to the continuation of this podcast series, Drugs, Biologics and Medical Devices. Is this really as simple as so many think? My name is Dr. Michael Drews. In the next example, I'd like to explore the seemingly trivial question, is a telephone a medical device? Well, once again, to most people, they would think that this would be an absurd question to even ask it. But from a regulatory perspective, as we're going to see, it's not nearly as absurd as it might seem at the surface. So is a telephone a medical device? Well, once again, the short answer to every question in regulatory affairs is it depends. So the question becomes, what does it depend on? Well, let's get a little bit more specific. How about what I would call a regular phone? To many, I'm probably dating myself. I'm not sure how many people that are viewing this podcast even remember in the olden days of rotary phones. Unfortunately, I guess I'm getting a little old. But nonetheless, the question remains, is a regular phone a medical device? Well, the simple answer is, of course not. It would be very hard to construe how a regular telephone could be a medical device. But what if we tweak the phone a little bit? How about an iPhone? Well, most people would probably say the same answer. Of course not. An iPhone can't possibly be a medical device. But if you said no, that in fact would be the wrong answer. Why? Because once again, the short answer to every question in regulatory affairs is it depends. How about if we tweak that iPhone a little bit further? And how about if we come up with an app to run on this iPhone that's designed to measure some aspect of health? For example, glucose monitoring. You think this is Star Trek-y? Actually, it's not. We have these people working on these things even as we speak, including some of the companies that I work with. Well, from a regulatory perspective, this is absolutely not a simple question. Let's take a look at one product that blurs this line right now.
Just resting the thumbs between the two windows, and it automatically will start off the app. So you can see there are three parameters on the sides: the heart rate, the breathing rate, and the oxygen content in my blood.
Now, just let me pause this to explain exactly what we have here. We have a little device that's designed to plug into an existing iPhone, and it's got a little sensor on there such that when you touch it, it can measure a variety of parameters. In this particular case, heart rate, respiratory rate, and what's the third one? I can't remember what it was. We'll see what it is again when I restart the video. But what we designed this thing to do is not really what's problematic from a regulatory perspective. What gets a little more problematic is how we use this information. In this particular case, as you're going to see next, the company is taking themselves into a little dangerous area here from a regulatory perspective in how they're going to use this. Watch the next part.
Right? But all this information, because it varies, depends on your age and gender. So we create a composite index called Vita Index that actually recalculate the three parameters and spell out a total score of 99. A point system that can, for anybody to easily understand this. Right? So in this case, the score is 94 points, which indicates pretty good cardiorespiratory system.
So once again, this is a very interesting example because we're not using this device simply to collect health-related information like heart rate or EKG and respiratory rate and so on and so on. We actually take this a step further by using that information via the software here to calculate, to quantify a score that's an overall predictor of health. In this particular case, in this short video, they're not making a claim as to your probability of having a heart attack or stroke or developing diabetes or something like that. That would be an even further step forward. But nonetheless, from a regulatory perspective, I hope everybody can appreciate that it's one thing simply to have a telephone. It's another thing to tweak the telephone to collect some health-related information like heart rate and respiratory rate. And it's a third step in this continuum to use that information to calculate a score, a risk-based score, for example, to give an assessment of health status or probability of becoming symptomatic for disease. Now we're getting into the bailiwick of practice of medicine. So bottom line, this question of is a telephone a medical device and the different extensions that we've talked about thereof is not nearly as simple as a lot of people think. The world is not a black and white place. My name is Dr. Michael Drews. If you have questions or you would like further information, feel free to contact me. Thank you.